Hi everyone, I'm Jan from Jannplansthings and welcome to my Plan With Me video for this week. So this week is the last week of my water, ocean, small worlds theme. So I thought I would do a turtle because I thought that would be a nice way to round off the month. But so I did this after I had a catch-up event with a couple of my friends, and I think we just had a little bit too much to eat, and I couldn't think straight, and halfway through drawing this I couldn't remember what a turtle looked like. So do you ever have that where you have a complete mental blank halfway through drawing and you just have to pause for a little bit? I was really grateful that the way I record the videos I could just stop for a second and just re-google what on earth a turtle looked like, and I kept on sketching over his head and his eye again. So that's the Sakura Pigma Micron again in 0.1. As I've mentioned before, it's my favourite pen to sketch with because it's water fast and fade fast, which is excellent if you're planning to do drawings that last a long time. And then this is the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. Now I'm really torn about using this one because the lines look fantastic while using them, but the lines do bleed through the LT quite a bit. So I find that I have to I can kind of ignore ghosting, but I can't ignore bleeding. It tends to affect the page right behind, and I think it might be because there's a little bit of alcohol in the ink. So if you have problems with that, then I wouldn't recommend you use this pen in the LT. Just test it on the back pages first before you commit to doing a whole thread of it. But I find that if it really bothers me, I can glue two pages together, or I just like stick a couple of receipts or something in on the next page. So like last time, I'm using Watercolours, my Daniel Smith ones. I'm trying to keep a blue-green theme this week, and also later on you'll see me apply the Finetec golds and silvers. So the Finetec makes a really excellent pigmented metallic paint. So what I've done here is I've painted in the sections first with a bit of yellow because I thought they would fade to the gold at the top, and then I mixed a little bit of green and blue to make the shell, but I found that it looked a little bit overly technicolor, so I'm going back every now and again, just darkening it a little bit. And I've had a lot of people ask me how come the LT paper doesn't buckle, and when you're painting in smaller zones like I am there, I find that it doesn't buckle as much, and when I do, it does buckle. Then I go back and I just pick up the colour with a dry brush so that it doesn't pull in that area, so when it dries it doesn't become as apparent. So I've just slowed the video down a little bit here so you can just see a little bit of what I'm doing. So I'm just painting little patches first so that I can make the scales of the turtle, and then I'm going to go back over it afterwards with a bit of a wash. So I pre-mixed all the paints beforehand. You can see it was using a bit of the ultramarine blue, and then a phthalo green, and a black, but the black is a Schmincke pan because I found that the black that I have from Daniel Smith, it's called a lunar black. It's a bit granulating, and I wanted the colour to be quite even. I had a lot of relief when I painted in the eye because like up to that point I wasn't actually sure it looked like a turtle. So I was glad when I painted it then that it turned out okay. So with another thing that I forgot to mention before when you're painting with watercolours is that you want to try and brush it as dry as possible in comparison to if you're using watercolour paper, because I find that works well for me because the colours are quite pigmented when you put them in, and if you water it down too much you have to layer on quite a bit, so it's more prone to buckling. So I change my technique a little bit when I'm painting in my LT, and I've gotten a little bit more used to it as I've gone along. So I'm just going through now and just putting a tiny pale wash on the bubbles. You can see that I overpainted the right hand bubble, and I went back with a bit of water and picked up the paint when it was still wet so that I could kind of like erase that blue, which I find that's a pretty good technique if you move fast enough. So you can just quickly fix mistakes if you do make them, and I make them all the time. So the Finetec palette's coming out now as well, and what I do with that palette is I mix it with a bit of water first, and once I can see the ink or the paint running, that's when I start painting to apply, because if it's too watery at the beginning, you don't pick up enough of the metallic pigments and it doesn't paint as opaque as you might like. And there was something I wanted to mention as well, is like when I'm sitting like where I'm sitting to do the bullet journal spread, I can't actually see how shiny it is because of the angle of the paper, so I have to stand up every now and then to get a check, so you guys actually have the best view of whether or not I'm adding enough shiny to the shell. And I'm really enjoying incorporating metallics over the last few weeks, and I think I want to carry that forward in the future as well. Just trying to think of a theme for next month, because I always get stuck on that, and I'm thinking I might revisit a space theme. Not 100% sure yet, but if you guys have an idea about which theme to do, I'd love to hear if you leave a comment in this video or on my Instagram. So I'll also do a video in the future of the materials that I use all the time, because I think they're always making a comeback. For example, like this Tombow pen, which is the Fudenosuke hard tip pen with the blue barrel. They also sell a softer barrel, which is the green pen, and that's got a slightly softer tip, and that's great if you want to have a little bit more variation in your lines, or you're not as heavy-handed as I am. So you can try the pens and see which one works the best for you. So I'm just finishing it off by just dating the page, and also just doing my the corner dates, so that I can refer to when I'm just quickly flicking through in the future. And that's that spread. I'm pretty happy with this one. I'm glad it looks like turtle. So the case that you've been seeing me use is Choose to Do, and this is my second one actually. My first one was blue, and this one's a nice peachy pink colour, and I love it because I'm obviously on a shiny run at the moment, and I tend to just slip these cases over my LT every now and again, so that I can spruce it up if I get a bit bored of them. I have a whole bunch of them, but I come back to these ones a bit, and I also use my Hobonichi cases. I'll have a giveaway for this case soon actually, so keep an eye out for that one, and I'll probably announce that on my Instagram. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you guys next time, and I really appreciate all your support, and please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye!